Come one, come all to learn and grow. Welcome to the Village Talk Show. Come one, come all to learn and grow. Welcome to the Village Talk Show. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. Give praises to Jehovah, from whom all blessings, blessing and knowledge will flow. Blessing and knowledge will flow. The Village Talk Show, dedicating to empowering the community to live a healthy, safe, and financially capable life, helping each one of us in realizing our dream at any age, any point, starting from today, day. Success. Come one, come all to learn and grow. Welcome to the Village Talk Show. Come one, come all to learn and grow. Welcome to the Village Talk Show. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. Success, if not spoken, it is done. Success is done. Come on now. The Village Talk Show. Talk Show. The Village Talk Show.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, I forgot to wear my shirt, so I apologize for my appearance, but thank you for joining us right here on the Village Radio Talk Show. I'm Roger Daly, your host. Joining me is Andre Domina, executive producer. Just thank you for joining us on the Village, where either you're subscribing, sharing, or participating, and we're all three. And we were dedicated to empowering the community to live a healthy, safe, and financially capable life through education. We're helping each one of us to realize a dream at any age, at any point, started from today. Success is not just spoken, it is done. And like I said, I apologize for my costume. I'm at the hotel and spa, and I totally forgot to bring a shirt to wear. I thought about it, but I didn't bring it. So I'm in a t-shirt. I'll do better next week. All right. Thank you again for joining us. What's going on, executive producer? How you doing?
Good, just said Andre. Oh man, all's good. It's been a smooth week so far. Man, I feel like Thursday came by quick though. But
It did.
And that's what happens when like you are doing a lot, doing things pretty much in life. When you think about the older you get, the faster time goes.
Right. And you're busy, right? You're busy doing so many things.
Yeah.
That reminds me, everyone, please, everybody who's watching right now, please just hit the like button, the thumbs up button. Let's get it out there. And thank you, villagers, for joining us. Our numbers are going up very nicely, so we appreciate all of you. Please tell a friend, bring a friend, and share it, and share the likes and share the love. Today's show, we're going to focus on a lot of things. One of them, our guest, is going to talk about the tax liens. In New York City, there's a lot of homes that are on that tax lien for a number of reasons. We have a young lady who, she's a lawyer and she deals with a lot of things. Andre Brown, she graduated from the University of Brown, one of the Ivy Leagues.
Mm-hmm.
So congratulations to her. And she went to, I believe, George Washington University for law school. Two top-notch programs that she graduated from. So, we hope that she knows her stuff, and a Brooklynite, right? A Brooklynite. So, and Allison Martinez. Not to mention she's not bad looking either, so that helps too. So,
Mm-hmm.
so it's great, right? But there are a lot of things going on, and I know she's coming up a little bit. But one of the things I want to talk about is the inflation and economics and expectation, right? So as of last week, the stock market over the last year was up 9.7%. So from March of 2024 to March of 2025, around the same time, the stock market was up about 9.7%. However, since
February
taking over the last 50 days, the stock market has dropped about 5.8%. I don't know the exact number.
It was since what, February, because they had China released their own AI DeepSeek, and everybody freaked out.
I think it's before February. It's 50 days actually. So it's about the time where he took over from office. So if you go 50 days back from last week, you're looking at January, the end of January actually. So you do 28 days in February, 10, that's 39. So yeah, since he took over, the stock market has dropped almost 6%, which basically means that the stock market was well over 10% when he got the market, right? And so all of the shenanigans and the tariffs and, like you said, the AI and Tesla stock. What is Tesla stock right now? Because I know they're going down. But we can look it up. What's that Tesla?
240.
240. So it's dropping, and people are losing money, right? And like you said, the new AI stock and the buffoonery of what's going on with Donald Trump. Is the economy stupid? Is the economy stupid? So prices are on the rise. Gas price has not been affected with him being in office. The price of grocery has not been affected by him being in office. It has not gone down. As a matter of fact, with the eggs crisis, it's gotten worse.
Is that bird flu? You know,
whatever.
Bird flu itself. So you got egg supplies is very low. You know, so people worry about that. So you go to the store, if you even see eggs, you're paying like what, $10 upward for egg. So
it's crazy. Like so that idea of the economy, and I'm the economy president, is not really true, right? It's not really true that he's really affecting the economy at all. Right? Again, welcome all the villagers out there. John, is that you? You're talking in the background? I don't.
Radio in the background, John.
The radio in the background, John.
Or repurposing it to facilitate
John, can you hear us?
Yeah, 1 second.
Right. So again, but surprisingly, the inflation is down 2 point. It's not what was expected at 2.8%. John, do you know how the inflation works in terms of how it affects interest rate and those kind of things? Do you remember how that works? Can you hear me?
Well, the Federal Reserve, their mandate is maximum employment and price stability. So if people spending too much, they're gonna increase interest rate because your spending is gonna inflate the economy with dollars. And so now your dollar itself, now the value itself is gonna the value of the dollar itself is going to be going down when prices are gonna be things are gonna be very expensive. So the Fed is gonna jump in, increase interest rate, so you can stop spending so much. And at the same time, if interest rate is going up, then now it's gonna be more expensive to borrow money. So companies now they are not gonna borrow as much money, and if they're not borrowing as much money, it might affect the labor market, which means that now people might end up having less jobs. If you have less job, you have less money, so you ain't gonna be spending so much, which is gonna make inflation go down. But if inflation now if interest rate is too high, it also is going to cause the consumer to not spend so much. So now if the consumer not spending, you're not going to have enough economic activity to make the economy grow. So if the economy not growing, the Fed's going to probably step in again and lower interest rate. But lowering interest rate is inflationary. So it's a game of a balancing act game. If you lower interest rates too much, you're at risk of increasing. If you lower interest rates too much, you're at risk of increasing inflation. And if interest rates go too high, you're at the risk of not allowing enough economic activity. So, you know what I mean? Is that how it is, right, Don?
Correct.
Yeah. So
The more money you spend, the issue is they want you to spend less money, because if you spend more, then the dollar is not as valuable as it is.
yeah.
And therefore you're spending more money than inflation. But if you increase the interest rates, there's an assumption that you're going to be spending less money. You lower the interest rates, there's going to be an assumption that you're going to spend more money. You're going to take equity out and spend it. That's what inflation is going to increase. So what you need is to try to have some sort of balance. But
Yep.
the interest rate,
Stability.
One of the effect of the interest rate is pricing, right? Prices on goods, how it affects people and purchasing power and selling power as well, and also it actually affects the bank, right? It also affects bank and the borrower as well. So people look at interest rate and look at the borrowing potential, right, and how much it can affect the entire aspect of the economy.
So watch this, right? So I'm reading and I'm looking at it. So you remember with Jerome Powell, him and Trump in Trump's first term, like at the end, Trump never really liking the guy. He wanted to get Powell out, but he can't really, because it's like they have a set term once they get in. So Trump wants prices to come to a place wherein print money out of thin air, spreads the money in people's pocket. Yeah, and the people go spend. But Trump wants the prices to go down. So I'm reading through it and I'm like, yo, if the tariff itself is making people not spend, because it is scaring people. And that's one of the reasons why the stock market is even going down now, because people are just like, we don't know. So uncertain. I put my money in, the tariff going to affect this company, and now I'm going to be losing the money. So people not spending in that sense. But what's happening too is that the Fed is also seeing this, and there's the website I go to see the chances of them cutting interest rates. Around December into January, the market was pricing in just one cut for the year, because spending was happening the same way. Labor market was still going, but not as much. But since the tariff and the back and forth with Trump and Canada and Mexico and all of them,
and don't forget the European Union.
Exactly, the market start pricing in about 2 cuts around May or June at the Federal Reserve meeting.
they're going to have to do it if these tariffs push it to the extent that they're going to have to do it to try to stimulate some sort of economic activity, because right now with these tariffs, there's no stimulation with respect, because there's so much uncertainty in the market.
Yeah,
people are holding on to what they have. Furthermore, the uncertainty in the federal government, the employment sector of the federal government is creating more uncertainty because of the
cuts that he's doing, firing all them people.
Yeah, because the efficiency impact that it's having would have on services being distributed to these communities. So there's it's just like a delay in people receiving checks or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And
one of the issue as well,
right?
when we look at, by the way, welcome, Dr. Bryant. Welcome. How you doing? What does your T-shirt say? Look like you have one of those related to work. What does it say? We can't see.
Failure is not an option.
I agree. But right now we're living in a situation where failure might be happening.
Daily.
Trump but talk too much, man. This man talks so much. He is it the man just every minute the man says something. The market say nope.
It's
Yo,
it's like I don't know how long this war on tariffs is going to happen.
he's pushing.
Like, yeah, but
He's pushing it. I think he's pushing Jerome Powell's hand, but Jerome just be chill. Like even the other day, come and speak. But people are also concerned that he's pushing it to such an extreme. The recession itself could possibly happen. But man, I don't think it's gonna happen.
I think even the CEOs. I was talking to somebody today, and I was like, I feel like even the CEOs are going to feel it because they still have to buy stuff. So within their own market, they're not going to feel it, but they still need to buy eggs. They still need to do this. It's going to affect.
But eggs. But you know the impact of eggs. Eggs is because of the swine flu. That's why the prices of eggs are going up.
Yeah,
That's the only reason.
Agree, but I'm not just talking. I'm like he wants to stimulate the egg production by doing certain things, right? But the fact of the matter is the tariffs that he's going to charge on the stimulation of the egg production, and it's still going to affect America. Like it's not going to go down.
Let me say something. I think what you call it. Japan did something smart. They enforced tariffs in the agricultural industry. That's where a lot of Trump supporters are, in the agricultural industry.
Yeah, like Canada said they're going to impose a 50% tariff on electricity, right? For New York, Michigan, and those.
I think they were going to do it, but they kind of backed off. I think it was Ottawa. Ottawa was going to 45%.
I don't think they backed up. I think they
delayed it. They delayed the implementation.
Trump is like they're playing chicken, right? Right? They're playing chicken. Trump delayed his. They delayed theirs. So, but I think even like within the European Union that says that they're going to put a tariff on the United States. Trump said he's going to raise his tariff. It's this war. Like I think Trump believes that he can just impose without an impact because of the power of America. But now he recognizes that the effect, even Mexico and the agriculture up north, the things, these positions that we are going to do has greater effect than he believed he was going to, and greater pushback. And he's isolating America and the strength of America when he realized, hey, 100 against 1 is not the same as 1 against 100 as he thought.
That is true. And the thing is, you never want to be isolated. If you're pushing your people, your partners away, and of course, you're going around stating that you're going to take over people's land and turn it into casinos and all types of things, then God forbid there's a war, you're on your own.
Let me tell you something. I'm sorry, go ahead, Don.
That's it.
Donald Trump, I mean, the president, he had to be, I would pay attention to see what his sons and them are investing in. That's what I would pay attention to.
Say it again. I didn't hear you.
What are the president's sons and son-in-law are investing in? That's what I would pay attention to.
That's true. That's very important. Because
sometimes he might be doing all of this to distract you from what something is going
on behind.
What he got going on to something. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because
good evening to our listeners. Yvette Porter, thank you for joining us. William, Janice, Lester, and anyone else that's tuning in, thank you for joining us this evening. Sorry, I just had to
welcome, Janice. Janice, how are you?
Yeah, I agree with that, Dr. Brian. That's a good interruption right there to welcome our villagers. One of the things that he's trying, that what he's a selfish person, right? He's an extremely selfish person,
Mhm.
and it's about his own wealth for his family, right? He plans to grow. And John, you made a good point, right? Because a lot of these persons who become president or become leaders of certain things, they do it for economic girth, right? It's about money, it's about wealth, not just fame, but about wealth. And so you're right. Look at what they're invested in. Look at their portfolio. That's a very interesting thing.
They've been very quiet lately, unlike the first term where they were all over the place.
You think they're quiet?
The sons,
I don't know about Trump is on fire.
his son,
Right.
his children have been very, very quiet.
Yeah.
Unlike his other adopted child right now, his boyfriend, Elon Musk.
That's not his boyfriend now. Let's don't go there. Let's don't do that. That's not his boyfriend.
Whatever.
That's his friend.
Yeah, whatever.
Joe,
Elon Musk is running amok. He's running amok.
man. But hey, I posted something in the chat, and Trump was talking to a few business people in this round table, and he was saying how he bought the Tesla car, they're doing a protest, which to me is it's funny. I don't think it's necessarily like a transaction I really went through, but it's just the optics. But he also says he was saying how people are against Elon, they think he's a Republican. I mean, he probably is a Republican, and then he says, but sometimes I don't even know what he is. That right there just says so much, because the reality is that Elon with the Tesla itself, that's about clean energy, right? Tesla, Republicans or even Donald Trump base, they're not about clean energy, right? They're not about the car and what the car stands for. So now you have two people who are not necessarily on that same thing. I mean, I'm giving them another year before their egos clash, and then it's just like,
he said that all to say, as soon as he said he would purchase a Tesla, Elon Musk go and donate to his fund. Like, hey, that automatically boosts me up, so I gotta send him some money. It's like, for, hey, you do this, I do that. You do this.
Oh, you talking quid pro quo?
Wait, hold on, John. I gotta talk about our village pessimist right here, Benev, right? Benev, who's worse, Donald Trump or Joe Biden? I think Donald is worse. Hey, Benev, do you remember how you hated Joe Biden? How you wish he was there? I just want to point that out, Benev. Yeah, I remember that. Right.
I only saw the stand. Where's the phone? You don't have it in your pocket or something?
No, it's
So just very interesting.
no, it's in the room.
Is it charging somewhere?
No, it might be in the bed.
Oh, all right.
Sorry.
I'll be back.
Sorry. I'm at the hotel and spa, and I forgot my phone in my room. Sorry.
What? Hold on. What'd you say? You at the hotel and spa?
You're muted, Andre.
You are at the hotel.
You're muted, Andre. You're muted.
I was saying
You're at the hotel and spa.
earlier too, hotel and spa. Clarify, you're not hotel and
Please
spa.
clarify, Andre, please.
But you really don't want me to qualify it. Look up and see how I'm dressed, and figure it out.
Mercy me.
I'm at the
It must
hospital.
be
I'm in the hospital. Right. I'm in the hospital, but I can't call it hospital anymore, so I call it hotel and spa. I can't.
Then you spend so much time there, you get carte blanche.
Yeah, exactly. It's like everybody knows me.
The only thing I can say is thank God for healthcare, man.
It's like Cheers, where everybody knows your name. So that's what it is, So it's kind of cool. So I know, I'm glad. Thank you. I'm glad that they really actually do take very good care of me. So I'm not complaining. our guest is here, but before we get to her, what time is she scheduled for, Andre? You're muted, Andre. What time is she scheduled
8
for?
o'clock. You want to do commercial?
No, not yet. There are a couple of things. John,
Yes.
talking politics, right? Let me not go to politics. Let me go to schools for a minute.
Don't even talk, please.
2 stabbings, one on Monday, or was it Tuesday, in a middle school in Texas, where a 14-year-old girl was stabbed to death.
Where was this?
In Texas?
Mm.
14-year-old. There's another stabbing. I believe it was in New York, but this one is stabbing in Texas brought national attention because, one, it's a middle schooler, right? And two, she was stabbed in school.
Mm.
So she was stabbed in school and stabbed to death. So I bring that up to ask again. A lot of parents don't want magnetometer in schools because, according to them, it represents the prison system. But what would you rather have it? The magnetometer, so no weapons are in school, or a dead child, right? Or a hurt child. And in this case, a 14-year-old child has lost her life, because of violence, right? And the violence in the school building, So, that to me is a problem, right? So to me, I think that, and there was a stabbing. I get another stabbing in New York City. I think I don't know if that happened in the school, but we could always research it as well. And for me, it's like that fear. Like, what do you say to that parent? I'm sorry. That's a problem. And in light of that, they're cutting the Department of Education staff in half, right? So almost half. So what kind of quality education are kids going to get? And things like protection. So I don't know.
So Roger, the question is, then you're talking about what kind of protection are they getting with now? You got the Department of Education. I mean,
question, but I think that if it's undervalued, and it's only going to get worse.
You know what's concerning? I know you brought that up because this week with so many young people at the realm of, like you mentioned, the stabbing or the police officer that got murdered in Newark by a 14-year-old and a police officer that actually is still in the hospital, or the group of kids with no license that was driving recklessly and ended up killing 2 people this week in Long Island. So it is, and these are teenagers. So it is something. Definitely young people have always been busy, always been involved in something mischievous and all of that. But I get what you're saying, Roderick, with education being cut, with the food thing being cut for some of the kids, with school lunch and everything. So we as a village need to be more active, proactive, more than ever, because what was possible before might not be because of all of these extreme next steps that's being taken place. And it's not to make our young people any better. It's actually taking away their history. It's actually taking away certain rights that they had. So as a village and a community, we need to be more proactive. If you sat back and say, hey, I'm not going to vote, sat back and say, oh, I know what's going to happen or whatever, in order to help save our young people, we need to get more involved.
Yeah. Also, there was a murder inside of Queen's Bodega on Saturday night, right? Where a 13-year-old, right, 13-year-old was responsible for the stabbing and killing. So these things fall back on our schools, right? How we educate for kids. I always propose that school is not just about education, but it's also about the social interaction, right?
Mhm.
What does that
That's
look
a
like?
big part.
And I think,
That's why they have 3K and pre-K.
yeah,
So the kids could become more social at a younger age and know how to communicate, deal with reality or whatever, and with how life is going, life is lifing. We need to continue to do that. At a young age, yes, they're learning that, but continuously to support schools, we need to, like you said, communicate, to become more social, get off the phone, that antisocial thing. We need to care
You know
about
what?
our
You,
neighbors.
you are so correct. You know what our biggest problem, Doc? Can you hear me? Am I here? Am I
We
there?
can hear you. We can hear
I
you.
think I think the
we just lost you.
Jesus Christ.
What?
He was just saying our biggest problem, and we're like waiting, and then freeze.
It's like watching that Mr. movie. You get the cliffhanger.
I was talking in related to that too. I was talking to some of my colleagues about how we, and I put myself in y'all generation too. When we were growing up, we can talk about how we used to like hide here, or we used to go down the road and do all these other things and just be laughing at some of the things. When we look back at it, the generation of today, I picture them 20 years later, and they're gonna be like, "Yo, you remember that TikTok video we were watching?" Like, and just think about how that's all they're gonna be talking about, because it's like everything is TikTok and social media, and that's all for a lot of the kids them who really just be on the devices all day.
It's funny because they call it social media. Yes, you're social with people from across the world, but in actuality, we're not that social when we are on our devices. We're antisocial.
correct, 100%.
One of the things, and then we're gonna go to commercial so we can bring our guest on. But one of the things that TikTok creates with edited things create a lot of falsehood that a lot of young people are following. But I don't think the social component only should be focused at the early age, because kids, that's why I believe the phones should be taken away in school, and they need to provide extracurricular social activities for young people so they know how to behave and not to be so. This generation, not that every generation is that angry, but this generation is angrier, I believe, than past generations. So schools are forced to
wait. I want to add one more thing that you said. With now, it makes me. Yesterday, I was hearing the announcement about the federal government suing hotels who house migrants, and they want the names, the information, the contact information of everyone that they house. The
Right.
problem, not only migrants but also homeless shelters. The problem with that is it's more like, hey, you're given documentation for these people to be searched and then deported. So
Mhm.
that's the scary part about it.
It's all under the guise, the rules, right? Because you want to move undocumented, what you consider to be undocumented people out of the country, right? And force them. You're 100% correct. Just like the registry for undocumented people. All of these are just methods to try to.
But you know what? If they start sending everybody back to their homes and everything, they're going to be stuck with cats and dogs and empty homes. And it's the truth. And they're going to see that what they think was perfection, they're going to realize wasn't.
Well, I think they already realize it, right? There's some level of realization.
No, it didn't sink in yet, because the thing is, the more they keep going after, oh, we're going to keep this population out and that population out and that population. Once you remove that, you're going to see how everything fall apart.
Okay.
They fail to understand America great, America great, America great. But America didn't become America without all the different melting pots.
And that's one of the things that I've been saying. Like, people talk about, America.
Facts.
America was built on immigrants, and America was not built on whiteness. Right? It was built on immigrants and melting pot. But let's run the commercial and bring our guest on. Andre, if you just run it, and so we could bring our guest on.
Want to get your personal income tax, business corporate tax, self-employment tax, quarterly tax, payroll tax, or sales tax filing done professionally?
Yeah.
Call US Spirit LLC 718-676-0519 and take the worry out of your personal and business life. Tax compliance issues should be left to the pros. So when you want your business to grow, call the pros, because a successful business matters. US Spirit LLC also handles accounting, bookkeeping, business startups, consultation, real estate, and many more services. Call US Spirit LLC 718-676-0519 and ask for Howard DaCosta, CEO, to book a 1-hour evaluation at no cost to you. Take remote control of all your needs, and US Spirit LLC will follow your lead. Want to work but don't have a social security number?
Yes!
Find out about getting a tax ID to pay your taxes. Call US Spirit LLC or log on to www.usspirit.com. Team up for success.
Call Howard Housing Solution today for all your real estate needs. Sellers, we can get top dollar for your home, and our vast network of professionals can facilitate your move and help you purchase your dream home in another state. Buyers, we have a pulse on the market and can get you in a home quickly. Property owners, we can manage your property efficiently and allow you peace of mind. So why wait? Call Howard Housing Solutions today at 646-825-5560 for your sale, purchase, or property management needs. Conveniently located in East New York, Brooklyn. You can come to us at 577 New Lots Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, or we can visit in the comfort of your home. Call Howard's Housing Solutions today at 646-825-5560. Howard Housing Solutions. Real estate simplified.
Footprints Cafes now offers Caribbean flatbreads, available in 11 mouth-watering flavors, including favorites like jerk chicken, curry chicken, honey garlic chicken or shrimp, ackee and saltfish, garlic cheese, and more. Our flatbreads are satisfying and can be enjoyed by the entire family. So make it a flatbread night at Footprints and enjoy the fusion of flavors. These flatbreads are so good, you might just have to fight for that last piece. Good thing there's plenty more where that came from. Get yours today from any of our Footprints locations. Want to enjoy your flatbread at home? Then order on Uber Eats and get it delivered right to your door. We'll see you there.
Hey, John. Joanne. Just welcome our guest, Miss Allison Martinez, Esquire. I was singing your praises earlier before you came on. Welcome. How are you doing?
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello. Pleasure meeting you.
Welcome. Thank you.
How you doing?
I'm well.
I'm sorry. Looking at a couple of comments from the previous topic. What was that, brother? You're correct. So, Allison, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Hello, everyone. I'm Allison Martinez. As Rudy said, I'm an attorney. I'm also a real estate broker. But for tonight is importance. I am the founding executive director of Brooklyn Level Up, which is a nonprofit community development corporation. We support the communities of East Flatbush, Flatbush, and Flatlands, which we affectionately call the Flats, and when it comes to building community wealth and our initiatives.
Okay. So I want to touch on your background a little bit. You went to Brown, right? You went to Brown
Yes.
University. Did you know Professor Alexander? He was a Trinidadian guy. He's a professor in physics. You take any physics
No.
class? Anyway?
No, I didn't take physics. I'm an attorney. Do you think that I really enjoy physics? No.
Just got to ask. He's actually my colleague, my classmate from Haverford College. Tell us what it was like going to Brown. Where did you go to high school? Did you go to school in New York City and then went to Brown? How did you tell us a little bit about that transition?
I went to PS 235, just I'm a neighborhood kid, but then I was a prep student, and I went to the Hewitt School for Girls, which was on 75th between Park and Madison. And I decided to go to Brown because at the time I was accepted to what's called a PLME program, which is where you're already accepted to medical school from high school. At the time I thought I was going to be a doctor. But I realized when I started taking organic chemistry and the like that I didn't enjoy those classes. I enjoyed my English classes. I enjoyed critical theory and philosophy. And I realized nobody wants a doctor that doesn't want to touch blood or touch anything on anyone. So that was that. And I moved on to English. And after that, when I graduated from college, I decided I took 2 years working in financial marketing for at the time what was Money Securities, and started to work on contracts and intellectual property. And realized I want to go to law school, and so I did.
Okay, where did you go to law school?
I went to George Washington University Law School.
That's in DC, correct?
Yes.
So you just from New York City, Manhattan, to Rhode Island to DC. Those are like major transition, right?
Yeah. I had a lot of close friends and a boyfriend at the time who were from Maryland. And so that's kind of how I got introduced. Not to mention that's how it happened. And I realized I visited Maryland a bit. I actually have my godmother is from Maryland as well. So I really enjoyed that place, and it was a hop, skip, and a jump to DC. So I realized this is where I wanted to be. I thought actually I would be living in DC, but then after a while, it's like I would spend every other weekend coming back to New York and realize I need to move back home where I belong.
Okay. So what did your mother say about the boyfriend? Did she like, or she's like, oh, you're grown now. Your boy is.
At the time, he was a very nice guy. He's still a very nice guy. He's a professor at Swarthmore, I think.
Yeah. What's his name? What's his name?
Tell you?
No, you're Swarthmore. That's why he asked you.
Well, he was. Well, oh my God. I think that's what he's thinking. I don't want to tell his name, no.
I'll ask my daughter.
All right.
Oh, how would your daughter know? She don't know the
exactly.
Don't worry.
Wait. This what you just caused.
There are not many African American professors at Swarthmore.
But you assume he was African American. He could have been white. She went.
That's true, but he's not. He's black.
So that's let me call her now and get the answer.
Allison, I'm just telling you that many black professors in their 40s or late 30s. Mm-hmm. So what you just did was just ask John to go to his daughter and ask every black younger professor did they know an Allison Martinez.
Oh my God.
You might as well just say the name,
I'm not going to tell his name at all.
You don't have to, please.
So tell us, when you graduated law school, you came back to New York. What were you doing?
When I came back to New York, I actually I took the bar exam. Actually, I had to take it twice. I missed it by 1 point the first time. So I started working, I interned for a little bit at some like solopreneur law firms. Then I started to work at a firm called Quinn Emanuel as a staff attorney. And I started to just do a lot of work in, at that time, securities law, just figuring out like what was important to me. And I realized that I was doing a lot of work for like big banks, big insurance companies, like doing a lot of research, preparing depositions, stuff like that. And I realized I actually got more enjoyment out of doing the community work that I was doing on the side, which was helping the Block Association incorporate or another small nonprofit. I got a lot more personal enjoyment out of helping those things start to flourish than I did in my everyday work. And then I realized that, you know, that was where my real future would be supporting communities to build structure and to be able to move forward to build the quality of life that we want where we live.
All right. And is that where the birth of Brooklyn Level Up came from?
I would definitely say that. It actually started from co-chairing the land use committee at Community Board 17. And we had, at that time, this was about 2017, 2018, a lot of community residents, especially senior homeowners, who were struggling with how to deal with a developer who's purchased the property next door and who's like siphoning off water and electricity, building, scaffolding on their property, and how to deal with that. And so we realized there was so much work and support that was needed for the community to really deal with and face gentrification, that it couldn't be housed within the community board itself. It had to have its own life and be its own nonprofit. So honestly, that was what I was kicking around with another community board member at the time, Rachel Goodfriend, who we moved forward to actually build Brooklyn Level Up during the pandemic. That reset time gave us the moment for me to actually sit there and do the nonprofit incorporation paperwork for us and to start to envision what this could be.
Okay. All right. And at this point, tell us a little bit about Brooklyn Level Up and what it does.
Sure. So Brooklyn Level Up is like I said, a community development corporation. We have 3 initiatives. One is our Entrepreneurship Collective, which is a small business incubator that is wellness and accountability based. We partner with the local branch of the public library to host cohorts and peer mentoring. Then we have our Community Land Trust, which is about how communities can own properties collectively to deal with affordable housing, affordable commercial space, and community space for facilities and gathering. And then lastly, our newest initiative is Brooklyn Level Up Cultivate, which is our environmental justice arm. I think that one to me right now could be like, in addition to our land trust, one of our most important pieces, because it really deals with identifying and dealing with a lot of the environmental harms in our community, but also ways to have intergenerational programming and to provide opportunities for young people, especially, to get introduced to green economy jobs and the future, which is really, I think, a missing piece in our community right now.
Okay. The environment, when you look at the environment, right? When you look at the environment, there's a pushback in saying from the government that there's no such thing as needing this environmental component and like build, right? And you're now saying that there is a need for that. What drove you to that conclusion?
The reality, I would say, I'm not going to say that this administration speaks for the entire government, because we all know the realities of climate change. We're living them. We're living with extreme heat. We're living with unpredictable weather patterns. We are seeing where, one day it's 30 degrees, the next day it's 70. So we're seeing that confusion. And I think the reality is, what we know is that in East Flatbush in particular, it is 3rd highest when it comes to lead content in its soil. And that is a result of you could see an overlay between the redlining and history of where Black and brown people's homes ended up being and the industrial environment and built community as well. So that overlap, you could see the overlap between redlining and environmental harms. You have extreme heat, where East Flatbush is #1 in the state when it comes to the impact of extreme heat. The lack of tree canopy to help naturally bring down temperatures, which impacts businesses, the cost of heating and cooling, which are rising that everyone can see. The flooding that is occurring more frequently as a result of overdevelopment, and also the basically cutting out green space and the lack of green space that exists to begin with in these communities. You already are experiencing and living the impacts of the environment. And I would say for us, what started us to really pay attention and to know what's going on, it had to do with actually partnering with the grad school program at Pratt in landscape architecture, where we had a student who did a studio project where they invited community residents to send in, like, to write up their family recipes. You know, like we all have like community, family recipes that we know how to make one, but it's never written down. But knowing what those ingredients were, we realized, especially in the Caribbean diet, there's a lot of root vegetables, and root vegetables happen to grow exactly at the level in soil where lead stays. So people think they're doing a good job, healthy job by making these, root-based healthy foods and growing them in their backyards. But it turns out that in our community, that's also mid to high levels of lead. So
Wow.
yeah. So that you see like that connection between family, what we're growing, we're doing it for health, especially in these last bastions of Black home ownership. But it's actually, we may need to be doing like more remediation and clean soil to deal with that.
And I don't think a lot of people know that. That's the thing. You're figuring, hey, this is good. I could grow my own with the soil there instead of doing hydroponic. You're going to grow it right there. But now you saying that, people need to start looking towards doing hydroponic instead of using soil.
Well, you can still use soil. We have to just do raised beds or have ways, like we partner with Brooklyn College's Urban Soils Lab this past summer to have young people in our community be paid to gather soil samples from homes, test that soil, and then now we're coming back to the community residents who participated. We collected like over 200 samples to tell them city has a program where you can get clean soil to replace, but you have to build that out over time, or we could do raised beds. So that's the program that we're running to make sure that we're giving young people an opportunity to connect with seniors or anyone in our community, collect stories about what they grow, how they grow, but to do it in a safe way.
Now, you said that the city has something where they can replace the soil that they have. Is that going to cost homeowners money, or is that free?
It's actually a free program that the Office of Environmental Protection has with the city. But usually how it works is that they like to work with local organizations or community gardens and spaces like that to give the free soil, which they get from actually developing sites. All of that soil that they excavate out is clean. However, that soil tends to not have any nutrients in it. So now we're thinking through, how do we add nutrients into the soil so that you can grow based on like what it is that you tend to grow or like to grow, so that could be something sort of like a DIY soil mix that we can have.
So you solve one problem one way, but you end up having another problem in the process to try to fix that too.
Exactly.
Oh boy.
Such is life. But it's good. It's a good opportunity though for community residents to get involved, to learn, to do like basically citizen science work, and for young people to see like what the realities of what the future jobs are that they can learn about and be exposed to today.
That sounds like fun. Especially young people. It sounds like fun.
You spoke about generational wealth, and one of the things that we talk about on this show a lot is generational wealth. And you talk about land ownership and trust and the like. There's something going on in New York City now, in the state of New York, in terms of tax lien against individuals, right? Tell us about how that affects, because you're saying Brooklyn Level Up is spearheading the charge against that, or against the inability for generational wealth. So tell us a little bit about that and what does that mean?
Sure. So Brooklyn Level Up is part of a 10 organizational member coalition called the Abolish the Tax Lien Sale Coalition. And what we are working on with our peer organizations is ending New York City's practice of having lien sales. The lien sales were actually started under the Giuliani administration. And at that time, what it does is where people are struggling to keep up with, it could be property taxes, could be water bills, or it could be if you're in an emergency repair program, if you have like a building and then let's say HPD comes in and says like, you know, there are complaints from tenants and there are all these violations that need to be addressed, but you can't afford it. But the issues are so dire that this city has to step in and do the repairs. If you do not keep up with those payments, or you can have it as little as $5,000 of arrears, the city will have a lien against your property. That lien, if you do not make payment arrangements to pay it, or pay it off in full, or enter any other available exemptions, which could be for a senior 65 plus with earning less than $107,300, or a veteran or someone who's disabled. If you don't qualify or apply for any of those exemptions or make a payment plan, the city will sell your lien to a private trust of market speculators, who will then come back to you, send collections, add additional fees and interest onto of the bills that you already can't pay. And if you're not able to keep up with the payment arrangement with that, you will then potentially have your lien foreclosed on, and then that company could sell your property. So you could potentially lose your home for $14,000, $15,000. And as you know, there's no property you could buy in New York City for $14,000, $15,000. But this really does impact Black and brown communities the most. In fact, in the areas that we're supporting, which are East Flatbush, and Flatlands, there are over 2,700 properties that are on this year's lien sale list, which is scheduled on May 20th. So if you are on that list, you would have received notices from the Department of Finance, the 90-day mark, the 60-day mark, and the 30-day mark before the 20th to make some arrangements. And we are working, doing door-to-door knocking, and also hosting events at the Clarendon branch of the Public Library for the next few Saturdays from 12 to 3 to make sure that our people in our community are doing what they have to do to get their properties off that lien sale list. And it's not, I just want to say, it's not just homeowners. You have community assets that are on that list where churches and nonprofits are subject to have liens sold as well.
That's horrible.
Let me buying them up. I have the opposite question, right? Buying up these liens until the fight happens. Can public people buy these properties off the lien?
No. In New York, you cannot, as an individual, buy those liens. They are all sold as a bulk package to that private trust. This is not like where your neighbor could buy your lien and then, you can make arrangements to, get paid by them. That is not what happens here. So there is some work to try to see if community land trust could be a vehicle to be able to buy those liens. And then because their vision and mission is to make sure that people stay in their homes, be able to make arrangements for people to be able to work it out with the community land trust. But that's not law.
But it's kind of interesting. Like it's the way I look at it, and I don't know if Dr. Bryant and Dr. Sampson agree with me, but the way I look at it is it doesn't even help like Black and brown individuals to, even if you wanted to purchase these homes and even assist or even build your own generational wealth, that it's even feasible, since always these big, larger companies that are benefactors of these situations. Is that a fair assessment?
You know what? You wouldn't have access to it. Unfortunately, what I realize is, for example, liens and short sales and foreclosures, you have a lot of companies that's international that have stakes in here that you have no say. A lot of places in India are purchasing property in New York. So by the time you figure it out, unfortunately, a lot of people have a lock on their doors and their things outside. And for people who live in New York, you have no access to it.
Well, I think, Doc, well, I think what you're saying, I think what we should do is we should get involved in the front end, not the back end, like what Alice is doing, notifying them. But most of all, I think we need to get our elected officials on the municipal level a lot more involved to see if we could modify or change or put some legislation where we can either increase the time period in which to correct them or put some stipulations in if we're going to sell them on the open market like that.
I want to add a question. Are the tax liens only a New York City issue, or is it a statewide
No,
issue?
it's all over.
It's all over.
Yeah.
There are about 21 states that have lien sales, but the reality is Los Angeles does not have a lien sale, but they're able to get more recoupment of the property taxes that they're looking for than we do having a lien sale. So it doesn't, and the other part of it is who it impacts a lot are seniors, because those tend to be who are the homeowners. But what happens is you'll have people where, that if you have a mortgage, you don't think about it because the servicer, the loan servicer is the person who's paying the property tax and the insurance. But when you have owned your property and you're past the mortgage stage, sometimes people don't remember, I actually am now the person responsible for paying that property tax. And so it mounts, it builds. Or there are situations where it comes to the water liens where, like you're accustomed to usage of water, and all of a sudden there is a leak underground that you're not aware of, and now you have a
thousands of dollars.
Water. And
that's very, very difficult. That
absolutely.
One, the water leak.
And you're dealing with people on fixed incomes who are not able to manage this at all. And then if you tack on additional fees and interest, how could you possibly expect them to fix that when they couldn't manage the regular levels of property tax or water tax?
Correct.
Do you find that?
Go ahead, Dr. Brown.
Do you find that during the auctions that you find like a lot of companies like banks? And also, I know prior, for example, a lot of people are trying to purchase homes and things like that. Some of the same, like Zillow and things like that, would buy in bulk and then overprice it and then try to sell it out. Do you find that to be the case?
So that was different than the lien itself, because those are dealing with the properties. Now, when I put my real estate hat on, what we see you are seeing like a lot of hedge funds and the like are bulk buying single family homes to basically turn if you ask me, the entire country into a whole renter class.
Right.
And so everybody would just be renting and that's it. But we know that ownership is the only way to have any real say in the game and to be able to avoid displacement. So the challenge is because even with the list of liens, like we know these could be challenged properties. So it's how do we make sure people can stay and have the most options to make the best decisions for themselves with these properties. And the other piece is that we have a lot of properties in these communities that are on this list where you will have either an incapacitated or a deceased owner, and the property is caught up in surrogate's court, and therefore no one has any real clear title to make any decisions about the property. They don't even necessarily know, because of secrecy when that person was alive, about what has to be paid to whom by how much. We know in our community, especially the Caribbean community, everything is a secret. even though
Mhm.
nothing about a home is secret. It's all online.
Right.
But that is a challenge.
Yeah, it's a secret to the people near you, but
Yes.
Yes.
But
That's
to the bank and
prey on
everybody
you.
else have access online.
it's a
Exactly.
secret to the people who need to know, and the people
Exactly.
who don't need to know, they know. And that brings me to my next question, right? That brings me to the next question. And also just want to thank all of the villagers for tuning in. We're talking to Allison Martinez, the founder and executive director of Brooklyn Level Up, and talking about some of the tax liens that are happening in New York City, also on the national scope and what that looks like and who can and cannot purchase and what you can do to save your homes. When we come back to the secretive component of the Black and brown community, are they coming out to these workshops that you're having on how to save their homes, right? Because in my purview, I don't think they are. One of the things that I spoke about, I was being interviewed maybe a couple of weeks ago, and I remind people that in our Black and brown community, when people give out flyers for information that might be pertinent to them, they walk past you and tell you they're not interested. We're in a white community, they'll actually take the flyer, read the damn thing first, and then decide whether or not they're gonna discard it. When we come to the community board meeting, which you have been to numerous times, people don't come, right? The Black and brown community, they don't come. They miss information. Do you find that support at the meeting at the Clarendon? By the way, tell people where the Clarendon for Brooklynites, because it's not just, even though you're talking about the areas in your catch basin, anybody can come. Am I correct?
Absolutely.
So tell me how that is.
So the location is the Clarendon branch of the public library, which is located at 2035 Nostrand, which is between Farragut and Glenwood. So the reality is our community does not come out enough to these things. I think the challenge is that when people get the notices, they start to get into a traumatic mode. And that means that they're operating in fear and panic. And usually that means not dealing with the issue. It could even be not even opening the envelope. That's the notice that tells you you have 90 to 60 days to find a solution. What we are hoping is that by doing door-to-door knocking, dropping off the flyer to the people, because we know the people who are on that list here, and it's not just, oh, here's some information that you should use. It's come to a trusted space, which is the library. I'm not telling you to come anywhere that you don't know is a legitimate space. Come to the library, and we're not just going to tell you about the lien sale. We're helping you fill out the forms and submit them, because a lot of times people have no idea how to complete the forms. They don't know what information they need to provide, and therefore they don't act. And what we're trying to do is remove those barriers from inaction.
Have you been to churches? What tell us about where you've traveled to try to secure these situations?
We're in the beginning phases of this. We have spoken at the community board, housing committee, and the land use committee. We've started to get on calls that people have asked us to join to talk about the tax lien sale. We're doing door-to-door knocking. We're also looking for volunteers. There will be a stipend as well for people who come out and help us to get the word out to who needs to know. We are also partnering with other organizations within the coalition, and there are elected officials who have and will continue to host events either at their office or in the community. I can tell you that Senator Prasad, Assembly Member Chandler Waterman, Council Member Farrah Lewis, and also Rita Joseph have hosted events and will continue to do so as well. And we will be out there helping people as well. And these we have for the next Saturdays, March 15th, March 22nd, April 12th, April 19th, May 3rd, May 10th, May 17th. All of these Saturdays, we will be at Clarendon Library, but we will also come out and have other events at other locations as well. It's just, this is our first set.
So quick question for you. Besides the letter, is there another way that people can find out when they're on the
list?
The
Absolutely. You can, the New York Department of Finance, which is the agency that manages the tax lien sale, you can go right on their website, which is nyc.gov/LIENSALE, and you will see the spreadsheets for all of the different boroughs and all of the properties that are on the list. You will also see the 5 ways that you can get off the lien sale list, which has like a connection to a direct pay or payment plan options or exemptions. If you are going to apply for an exemption, which means that you are either 65 plus, you're a veteran, or you are disabled, you must complete that exemption form by March 17th. And the reason why you need to do that, because that's the last day that you can apply for an exemption. And I just 2 things to state about that as well. It's important that anyone who's a property owner or homeowner, you are also eligible for like the STAR credit.
Yes, Long Island do a lot of that.
Yes. And
But
people
not
are
New
leaving
York
money on
City.
the table. People are leaving money on the table that they're entitled to. You can get a check for like $300 over the summer.
You know what?
Wait,
I don't think
I have
a lot
question.
of people know that in New York City. Long Island, they're very familiar because the thing is, when you're purchasing a property, hey, to lower your tax bill, hey, STAR is offered for maybe a year or several years or whatever. But in New York City, because the taxes aren't that high, I don't think people think that they qualify for the STAR program.
You do.
I went on I actually, because I was looking at the bins, right? The compost bins as a resident to see because there's supposed to be something for the STAR. And there's a qualification though, everybody doesn't qualify.
As long as you are a single person earning less than $250,000, the place is your primary residence, or if you're a couple, you earn less than $500,000, you are eligible.
Maybe I missed something on that because I did look. I definitely don't make $500,000 a year because as a retiree, we don't make that kind of money. But
and seniors can get the enhanced STAR.
Yes,
and there are exemptions that seniors could qualify if they meet certain income requirements, like where they could even get 50% off of their taxes.
Wow.
So, first of all, kudos, and thank you to you and your organization for constantly staying on beat and just letting people know that, hey, we're there up until the very last moment, May 17th, before the May 20th deadline. You can find us on Saturdays. We're in your face. We are here. So, if, to our listeners, if you know someone who might have got a ticket for something and there's a lien, even tax lien, water lien, whatever, reach out, come down to Brooklyn. If you live in Queens, it doesn't hurt to come to Brooklyn to come and find out what you can do and how you can get support on what you need.
Is there a virtual component to the meeting as well, or is it all in person?
Those are in person because we want to help you fill out your forms and send them where they need to go. But I'll follow up with the show, but we will have some virtual sessions as well. There's one coming up on April 3rd, but I'll get you all the links.
Okay. I appreciate that. Because like I said, I did go in the STAR thing today because
he needs a walkthrough. So please
through.
Follow up with Roderick and walk him through in getting his STAR qualification.
And by the way, can a renter get it? Somehow I have an ID. I don't know that. I did check. I put my
STAR is
you have to be a property. You have to be a property owner in order to get it.
No, I understand that, but I typed in. I was actually going through it today because with the bin thing, with the compost,
been asleep,
and getting the bin, and it says I have an ID already, and I'm like, I don't remember ever signing up for this crap.
Oh, wait, yeah. What you're talking about is basically your New York City ID, which it gives you and when you're accessing a lot of these programs now, that you have a profile online that you can use to make payments or to access different resources or agency support.
But I don't remember doing it. That's what I'm
You
saying.
may have done it at one point, but most people
Me?
don't remember, and they certainly don't remember
Again,
their password or user ID.
We're talking about me. I don't ever.
Well, you don't even remember what you ate earlier today. Give me a break.
Oh,
Cut
wow,
it out.
That's cold. That's cold. I had
You see?
you
You see? You
I
see?
had
Prove my
Jesus.
point.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's calling me out there. That's terrible. What the hell did I have? Oh my God. Oh yeah, I had a turkey burger. I had a turkey burger with turkey bacon and lettuce and tomato and onions. I hated the noodle soup. I don't know what I drank though, so don't worry about it. Leave that part out. And chocolate chip cookie. So
One
you're
last
somewhat
thing.
right.
Go ahead.
One last thing. This is about property owners, but this impacts tenants as well. Obviously, especially in these communities, you have a lot of like 1 to 3 family homes, and it takes all of us to keep a house running. A lot of landlords in these smaller properties, they need their tenants, and their tenants that could be a first line of defense to finding out that these notices are coming. We have properties where the owner actually doesn't even live in the property or not in the state, but the tenant is receiving that notice, and they have to let the owner know, because the reality is you could be displaced as well.
You and I were talking offline a little bit, Ms. Martinez, and one of the conversations about tenant and landlord ownership. Some of these tax liens happen because these damn tenants are not paying rent. Are you guys working any way to say change the laws to give the landlords a little bit more right to remove these damn unpaid tenants?
That is not my work. However, there is always going to be we know we live in a city that is very tenant friendly compared to lands. And I think one of the challenges is that there's not enough distinction made between the small landlord who's like a 1 and 2 family homeowner versus someone who has a a big building with like 50 tenants in it. They're not the same. The small homeowner needs that tenant to pay rent, and they need to be able to have a way to get them out if they're not, because the challenge is that means both people can end up homeless. And that is the challenge we have. But I don't personally work on that. However, that is definitely an issue.
You should. Maybe that's something that you can work on, be a lobbyist to provide some kind of relief for tenants, because they're losing their homes as well because of the city high protection of delinquent tenants, right? Because they affect what's going on. And sometimes even if I don't live in a residence and they're using up the water, you're responsible for the water or
Absolutely.
the heat. And they're in the summer, in the winter, they're blasting the heat to 75, 80 because they're not paying it. So they don't give a shit, right? And
really?
Really? Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm being John. And by the way, John extends his apologies. He had to run out on you. But at the end of the day, they honestly, a lot of the tenants don't care, right? At the end, because they move on. So this is just something that Brooklyn Level Up could do to help, not necessarily large, like a Flatbush Gardens or Glenwood, housing or things like that, which HPD, but the small homeowner, the 1 or 2 family, 1, 2, 3, or 4 family homeowners who depend upon the income to help to offset what is happening on their property. I want to move on to another conversation with the work of Brooklyn Level Up, and that is development, rezoning, land use, where a lot of companies, like you have companies who are like what they're what called borrowing airspace, and then they're building up and changing the dynamic. Is Brooklyn Level Up working with families to ensure that these things are not happening? And if so, what does that look like?
So when it comes to rezonings, we have worked with CB17 on their plan for rezoning. However, I would say with the passing of the City of Yes, it's pretty much, it will be pretty much open season on development. A lot of it is just as of right. And if you can add, the reality is City of Yes has made it so that community boards and honestly council members, to me, have less of a say, because now they can develop as of right to these higher levels, so long as they're going to provide, they can even go 20% higher if they're going to add additional affordable housing. And it's a challenge to be able to have an opportunity for communities to step in and make decisions about what they want their community to look like in light of that. I do think, though, this is why the community land trust move is important, because as we build relationships with developers that are mission aligned, we then can build in say, because we're talking about community engagement, really in knowing what communities of people who currently live in a community want, and then building according to that. So it is a challenge, but there are opportunities. It's just that the community has to, in some ways, wake up and get involved. And it's not just about complaining about things, but looking just clearly at what are opportunities and what are the challenges and what are the opportunities that we can take advantage of collectively.
And do you find that happening, or?
I feel as though you have some limited opportunities for it with like community benefits agreements, but I fear that with City of Yes, there'll be less incentive to do that. But that remains to be seen. I honestly believe that it's like building relationships with developers to really address the holistic needs of community, that where we can show that there is a return on investment that they can get by doing this, using this approach, that will make the difference. But honestly, it is a challenge when the city just is saying basically build anything without any real like complete plan that makes sense.
For the STAR program, is it also retroactive if you missed it?
It is not, unfortunately. The same for the senior exemptions. We actually, as part of the coalition, are working to do advocacy work to make at least the senior exemption retroactive. It doesn't make any sense for someone who, number one, probably didn't even know that they were eligible for it, to then have a potential lien for a lot of money that really could be slashed in half if we could backdate what they were eligible for. So that's but that can't be done at the city level. Has to be done at the state level.
Oh, that actually is my next question. Is the STAR program a city or state program?
So the STAR program used to be run and operated by the city, but now the state takes care of it. So you have to actually register for it at the state level, and then it gets you. But the city sends you the check.
Okay. And obviously this is across so therefore it's across the state, the mandates.
Correct.
Okay. So is there anything else that you want the audience to know? You're talking about you have a workshop coming up on Saturday, the 15th?
The 15th from 12 to 3, you can come in. And we have like a roadmap where we figure out exactly what is the right option for you if you're on the lien sale list. And then we will help you do the forms on site and scan them and send them in. And the good part is the act of just completing and submitting the form is enough to get you off the list.
That's
so
awesome.
It doesn't even have to be approved. It just has to be done. So either you get a lien sale exit or an exemption or a payment plan.
Seriously, I really, really appreciate hearing this. Like Jay said, I'm glad I caught this. I'm glad to hear about what you all are doing for the people in the community, because a lot of people lost homes. And it could have been avoided if they had a little bit more help in trying to process that. And it's a very traumatic experience. And we want people to keep their homes. So whatever way possible, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for making it a personal approach. You know, going through, I think, a tax lien or a foreclosure or something is embarrassing enough for people to say, hey, you know, is the same that I can't control, whatever. Things happen. Life happened. And with those changes, to have an organization that is supportive speaks volume. And just to hold someone through the process, through the whole emotional roller coaster is big. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
And
for the time.
and thank you so much for joining us. And good luck on good luck on Saturday. And make sure you reach out. Maybe I need to figure out why.
Wait, I want to add, how can people reach you?
So you can reach us either through our email, which is info@bklvlup.org, or you can call us at 917-680-6964.
Okay, you might have to say, Andre, are you able to recap that? Can you say it one more time?
Sure. Email info@B as in boy, K as in kite, L as in Larry, V as in victory, L as in Larry, U as in umbrella, P as in Paul.org, or you can call 917-680-6964.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It might the information might pop up as soon as you get off. But know that there you go.
Not right. No.
See, I'm glad. Wait. So I'm glad you didn't get off before. Okay, one more time. Let's do it again.
Info
That was funny.
at
That was very funny.
bklvlup.org, or you can call 917-680-6964.
So is that Brooklyn Level Up without the letters?
Without the E's. Yes, for the most part. Yes. Correct.
All right.
Okay. All right. So thank you, Allison, so much for joining us.
Thank you, Allison.
Thank you
It
for having
truly
me.
was a pleasure having you on.
Wishing you good luck on Saturday, that these people will actually show up and stop pretending like, you know, one of the things that you find is that, nobody helped me. That's not true, because you didn't pay attention and you waited till the last minute. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
All the best.
All the
Thank
best.
you.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
day.
Bye.
All right. And we still need to find out what the professor's name is, right?
Listen, cut it out with you and this professor. Why you care so much? Leave
Just
him
mad.
alone.
It's like every time somebody talk about a boyfriend, you get all mad and like feisty.
Leave it alone. My
No,
goodness.
why?
Some people
Why?
want to keep their personal life personal, unlike you.
I got a wife. I got a wife and 6 kids. So I don't have to worry about that crap. I don't have nothing private. And everybody knows who the hell Garcia is, right? So
It's okay.
you know.
Everything don't have to be in the open area.
She hates it too. Don't worry about it. It's not like,
On that tip, ladies and gentlemen, you will not see me broadcasting. So know that for sure.
Yeah.
Unlike my partner over here.
Yeah. Unlike you just too, So how about
yes,
you?
I am private.
Oh yeah. Well, tell us about your private.
Private. I am very much so private.
Tell us
So
about
we stay like that.
Right.
We stay like that.
We
stay private.
My friend. So we have a couple of topics, but we're not going to get to all of them. I'm just going to scroll through them, and we're going to choose one that we're going to talk about. We have a rare blood moon today that is happening in around the world, lunar eclipse. We have Trump cuts. We talked about that already. Trump cuts education. We have government shutdown looms right before the Democrats, with the Senate Democrats opposing this. We have Trump moves to unwind over 2,000 U.S. air water regulations. you know, Canada visiting for Canadians visiting for more than 30 days. It's a big deal. Need to get registered and fingerprinted, right? And the big thing, one of the big news, which I think I want to lead with that, which is that
What's that?
um,
That he has to actually give those people back their job?
no, we talked about that, but the government, the judge halted deportation of Palestinian activists
Yes.
who was arrested,
Crazy.
that they took their visa, right?
Mhm.
That's a big deal. And why I want to talk about it is if it goes through, right, what we're talking about many people who have permanent residency in the
Yes.
United States.
The green card. Mhm.
Right. That means because this person wasn't arrested for a crime.
Not at all. Charged with nothing.
He was not
And the
charged
thing
with
is, he was picked up and shipped somewhere else. That has, what a traumatizing experience, especially for his wife that's 8 months pregnant.
Yeah, but
you're walking in the street. So that means you're not safe walking. That's
So-
what a lot of immigrants are afraid of.
So that brings me to the point of a lot of people who felt like their families could have supported Trump. And here you go, nothing illegal. You're legal. It's a permanent registration, a permanent resident.
A green card?
A green card holder is a legal Biden resident
Yes.
in the United States. Right.
But-
That's one step to citizenship.
Right.
And this person had his free speech to disagree with the policy of the United States.
Mhm.
And it's now under question. Can it also be even further be placed to American citizens, right? Naturalized citizen who now they want to say is an act of treason is basically what they want to do, right? They want to place it at a level of treason, just like the people, anybody who revolt against Tesla, they want to say that is domestic terrorism. Domestic terrorism is treason, right? Treason at the highest level. So will they revoke your citizenship? I'm telling people that they're looking at ways to revoke your legal status here in the United States. Oh, this is an example. I don't know what's going to be the outcome of the case, but at this moment, we have an issue.
It's a big issue because the thing is, and they're using laws from 70 years ago, 80 years ago, things that people are not even bringing up. They're digging up laws to say, hey, they actually are working for terrorist organization. So as a way to get you out, they're going to say, hey, you're doing this and you're working with this group and that group. Exactly. No reason at all. The man is in school.
Right. So he protests a standard that he felt was unjust. Right. I have protested in the past, right? On issues, on education, on different things that we felt were unjust. So what are you saying? So these are, your free speech
is being eliminated. That's what it's
eliminated.
Yep.
Right? We're becoming a tyrannical country where where people look to be able to express themselves, and now those things are very much in question.
That right.
So this is another issue. So for the next 4 years, there's no freedom of the press, just like that woman who was removed from the White House because of her take on what was happening on the Gulf of America, the Gulf of Mexico, right? And that you just can't randomly rename something because you're the president of the United States, and you're now telling her she's not welcome because she says, she will not accept Gulf of.
Yeah. If you disagree, it becomes a problem, and that's a problem in itself.
Right.
People should have the right to think freely. Unfortunately, it's becoming a country where you cannot think freely. You cannot say anything. People wake up. Wake up, and do not be silent, because it could be you.
Yes, and look at what is transpiring around this country, and the negative impact that it's having on our country.
Yes.
And our people. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for joining us tonight, and thanking our guest, Allison Martinez. Next week, we're supposed to have another guest as well. Am I correct? Hopefully that works out, next week for our guest to talk about more things around the medical component and some local fight. Hopefully that will happen, that you just scheduling an issue. So we work on that. But thank you for your input. Thank you for joining, sharing, and liking our program. Please continue to support us as we try to bring you the information that supports you. Happy birthday. A number of birthdays going out this week, including my son, Garrett Cooper, who's celebrating his birthday. Was celebrating his birthday on Monday. He turned 10, so happy birthday to him. Whee! Right. And a few others who celebrated their birthday this week.
Well, happy birthday.
Happy birthday to all of you. Looking forward to get out of the hotel and spa on Tuesday.
Looking forward to that.
Yes. All right. So
all right.
I'll see everybody next week, God's willing.
Good
and
night.
come to our community board meeting.
When is it? When is it?
On Wednesday. On Wednesday of the 19th, come out. Here's some of the information that's happened within our community and yours. And these are things, it might not be exactly your community, but people can have indirect impact on what is happening in a governmental issue. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the remainder of the evening. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you.
Grayson's first game is this weekend. Yay. Oh, and next weekend, before I forget, is the renaming of the lounge, 3521 Church Avenue. At 11 a.m., they'll be renaming the conference room after me. So I'm inviting everybody to come out.
After you?
Yes, after me. And we now call the Roderick F. Daly Conference Room. So
conference room?
Yes.
Where's this?
3521 Church Avenue. So I'm very excited about that. So come out and support.
Wow. Roderick, you get your own mouthpiece. Okay.
Oh, yes, that's right. My son's birthday. I forgot. Oh, my God. Today. Wait, today's what date? The 13th?
Yeah.
Oh, the 14th. Tomorrow is my son's birthday. So tomorrow, the 14th, will be my son's birthday. And on Sunday, the 17th. When is the 17th? Monday?
Yes.
Monday will be my granddaughter's first birthday.
Oh.
Yes. So Cora will be one on Monday, and tomorrow's Stefan's birthday, and Monday was Cooper's birthday.
Oh boy, they're all around the same time.
Thank you, Ma, for reminding me. Yeah, all three of them have birthdays that are on the same. Like in my family, like Cooper and Garcia are in June. Christian Carter.
Yes, June people rock.
Yeah, they they except for Grayson, but David, Joanne, John, they all suck, and a couple others that I know, but I won't mention their name on here. But they are terrible, terrible.
Okay. On that tip, good night, everyone. God bless.
Right,
Bye.
Night. God bless everyone. Have a great evening. Take care. Bye bye.